Do you want to learn how to hold your violin and position your left hand properly? If so, then keep watching. Hi, I'm Megan. I'm a violinist and teacher currently based in New Jersey. I've been playing the violin for over 20 years. I have both my bachelor's and master's degrees in violin performance, and it's my goal to help you learn how to play the violin as easily and as joyfully as possible. Before we get into today's video, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so, and also you can check me out on Instagram at Suzuki Violin Teacher. So today we're going to be learning how to hold your violin and position your left hand properly. This is one of the most important steps that you need to take as a beginner in your violin journey. The first thing you need to decide is if you're going to use a shoulder rest like I have here. I personally would suggest to try a shoulder rest at first, and then if you find it uncomfortable or just impossible to play with, then you can experiment with taking it off. But the goal of the shoulder rest is to 1, make you more comfortable, 2, make your violin more stable, and 3, make sure that your body stays in an ergonomic position. When we're holding our violin, we don't want to raise our left shoulder at all. And you can see if I take my shoulder rest off and place my violin up, there's quite a bit of space between my neck and my shoulder, which means I'm most likely going to have to compensate for that by raising my shoulder like this. And does this look uncomfortable? Because it is. Violin is already hard enough. You don't need to make it harder on yourself. So if you don't have a shoulder rest, I will leave 2 recommendations in the comment box below, or the description below, for ones that I recommend. I like Zoret sponges, which are really cheap. They're only like $3.50. And then I also like Kuhn shoulder rests. But it's important to remember that there's a ton of different types out there. So if those don't immediately work for you, don't be afraid to experiment. If you're choosing to use a shoulder rest, here's how you put it on. You can see that there's a shorter side and a taller side. The shorter side is going to go on the same side as your chin rest. You're going to hook it on just like that onto the side of the violin. The shoulder rest should be making a frowny face, not a smiley face. Now that you have your shoulder rest on your violin, let's learn how to hold it. You're going to place your violin directly on your collarbone and turn your head about 45 degrees, so to the corner. Now you can see there's a slight bit of space between my violin and my head. So what I'm going to do is gently press down with my head and then hold my violin. Here's what the back looks like. You can see that my shoulders are level and that my violin is really up on my shoulder. It's not down here like this. This is what I call a violin beard. You should be able to hold your violin with no hands comfortably. I like to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star while my students practice holding their violin with no hands. Now, as we add the left hand, it's important to remember that the left hand's job is not to hold the violin. The left hand's job is to, well, it has a lot of jobs, honestly. It has to put the fingers down. It has to eventually like shift and do vibrato and all that stuff. So it already has enough work, okay? So your head should be holding your violin and your left hand is just lightly resting there. So now let's talk about our left hand position. At first, you're going to touch your violin in basically 2 spots. The first is on the inside corner of your thumb, and the second is right above your base knuckle on your index finger. So I'm on the back side of my thumb, and you can see that my thumb is relaxed. It's not perfectly straight like that, and it's not really bent like that. It's just nice and relaxed, just like that. And then I'm touching the violin on the inside corner of my index finger as well, right above my bone. You can see that I'm maintaining a good bit of space between my index finger and my thumb. Maintaining that space is extremely important. If you hold your violin like this, it's a lot harder for your fingers to move. The last thing I want you to notice is the position of my wrist. You'll notice that it is completely straight and in line with my forearm. It's not caving in like this. It's certainly not holding the violin like that. And it's not sticking out like that. Wrist is straight, thumb is relaxed. There's a bit of space right there between your thumb and your index finger. and you're touching the violin on your index finger right above the bow. Now, when placing your fingers down, you want to do so on the tips. So my finger is down on the very, very tip, and you can see that my knuckle is up. My knuckle is not collapsed like that. I like to say this is a little table that I can like eat soup or drink hot chocolate off of. This is especially common on third and fourth fingers. I see this a lot, so make sure that your knuckle stays up and your fingers land right on the tip and are nice and curved. Now, you may find that the position of your hand changes slightly on each string. So here's the front view. I'm on E. On A, you can see that my elbow came in a little bit. On D and on G. So as I go down the strings, my elbow swings in, making it easier for me to reach those notes. Now let's look at the back view. On E, A, D, and G. You can see, especially on the G string, my thumb lowered down a little bit, again making it possible for me to reach those notes. So that is how you hold your violin and position your left hand. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to drop them in the comments. If you like this video and are looking for more, I have a mass database of videos just like this one called Violin Dreams. It has literally hundreds of videos. We have a live class once a month, and you have the option to submit videos to me for direct feedback. I'll also leave the link to that below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.